And welcome back to a very festive Cape Town this morning. And it is, of course, the State of the Nation address anticipated to be delivered tonight at 7 p.m. by President Cyril Ramaphosa. And of course, it is a joint sitting of the two houses of Parliament. And this is requested by the President and the Speaker of Parliament, who is here with me this morning. Of course, then responds to that and calls for this joint sitting of the two houses. Madam Speaker, in front of this eternal flame here, which has, of course, its own significance. But, of course, the day has arrived, and are we prepared? Is it all systems go?
It's all systems go. Good morning, Sakina, and good morning to the listeners. We are ready for a long day because, of course, Cape Town is full of everybody, those who had come to the mining in Daba and those who will stay on to be part of the Parliament's State of the Nation address, where the President will later on, as you said, deliver his speech to the nation. We are ready, we are excited as usual, and as you know, it's the end of our term.
Madam Speaker, as it is right now, this is an election year, which means we will be having two State of the Nation addresses this year. And in these times of austerity, many South Africans are concerned about the cost implications. So we heard yesterday that there won't be what has become a traditional dinner after the State of the Nation address. And we understand the budget this year is 2.5 million rand for SONA, at least for this one. And the actual spending, we understand, stands at about 1.9 million. Is that correct? And tell us, what sort of items you had to cut out on in order to come in at that amount.
Sakina, in actual fact, this whole term, we have not been having the dinner. We just leave it to everybody, and we as hosts, individually as MPs, take our people out and just go and entertain them wherever. But further to that, we've cut down on some of the other items whereby we used to source from all the provinces veterans who would have to be assisted to travel to Cape Town to come and be part of the senior guards that come to see the president and themselves just enjoy the experience of coming to their parliament once in a lifetime, as well as a junior guard of young people we source from the schools around here. So we're not having all of that, and therefore close to 2 million was saved just by not having some of those kinds of items. But of course, the ceremonial guards, the military band, and so on would be there, and the president would take the salute as usual.
And just coming to the work of Parliament, because this Parliament, the fifth Parliament, will be dissolved. And I understand this would be somewhere around March. But you still have quite a few bills sitting before Parliament that need to be passed. Is there any chance, I understand some 62 odd bills that still need to be passed. What are the chances of those actually getting through?
No, actually, we made sure that the Office of the Leader of Government Business, in other words, within the executive, did the exercise of considering what is urgent, what is a must, what is it that we feel can't wait for 3-4 months later, because by June already we would be back here after the elections. And so we were left with something like 4 bills. But we are pretty much sure that by the 20th of March, we should be done with what is critical for what has to be done by Parliament in any year. And in fact, as you know, the annual exercise of processing the budget after the Minister of Finance would have delivered it shortly after the SONA is critical for us, so that we have the resources to be able to continue with the life of South Africa. So we will do the essentials that have to be done, but we won't be here after the end of March.
And what about the work of the Ethics Committee as it stands for this fifth Parliament? Will that be concluded, and what happens in the event that it is not? There's no conclusion reached.
I'm actually calling a meeting with the leadership of the Ethics Committee to try and make sure that those cases that are before them, because there are certain specific cases that we are anxious that by the time we leave, we've cleaned up our desk of such cases. So the Ethics Committee, I imagine, should be a matter of, in the next couple of weeks, the meetings being convened by the committee and meeting and dealing with those issues and making sure that we have a report that satisfies us that we've dealt with that which we had to deal with.
I'm very curious, what happens in the event that you do not get to conclude it, or will this be a matter of we must conclude?
We must conclude. That's my approach. We have to conclude. I mean, I wouldn't bear the discomfort of just not having concluded. I'm now very clear that we must clear the desk, we must conclude.
And just a final question. A lot of report and speculation about yourself and, your anxiety to return as a Speaker of Parliament. Any truth to that? And what are your thoughts on that matter?
No truth to anxiety to come back as a Speaker or anything specific. The only thing is the curiosity. You just ask yourself, you wonder. What I know is that I had my own views, and I've since been put in my place by being told you will be part of those that will come back here. Whether you'll be sitting in the back benches or where you'll be sitting, I'm ready for anything. I'm used to that, and it's no big deal really.
Well, Madam Speaker, thanks so much for your time this morning. And of course, we'll be here all day today as the SABC. No doubt we'll be catching up with Madam Speaker later on. I see her nails are green, perhaps a hint of what she'll be wearing later this evening. We'll be here to see all of that, down the red carpet and everything else that goes on here. But we're going to go back to Auckland Park for a break, and we'll be back here shortly to speak to the Chief Whip of the opposition, the official opposition in Parliament, the Democratic Alliance. That's John Steenhuisen. So back to Auckland Park for now.